guys, welcome back to Undefeated Locals. Once again, got me, Marvin, and Edgar over here. This time, we are here to do a Jetburn pre-release event tier list.
Yeah. So we're going to be going over all of the characters, including the alt arts that you might be able to pull from the various other sets, and letting you know whether they're something you should run with or just go home if you pull all Dobby.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you guys can see, we got a few tier lists here. X is the coolest. These are going to be the ones that I'm just going to auto pick in my sealed or draft events. We've got good enough. These guys will get you there in the tournament. Terrible or good in draft. Both of these will be the same tier list. Would rather go home. Not playing this character whatsoever. If we were on the old rules and I could only draft one character, I'm just scooping my rounds. And then we aren't that lucky, but would be sick, because mine and Edgar's pulls are dog shit. So we won't be playing with some of these alt-art characters that you guys will be. So let's get in. We've got this sorted nice and neat here in character order. So we'll start with the Clash decks, as these are pullable both in alt-art form and as the XR Clash deck card.
Yeah.
We'll start with Toga. What do we think about Toga?
Toga, you're never ever going to pull enough to play Toga.
No, yeah, the weapons don't exist in this set outside of the Clash deck, guys.
Yeah.
We've got some of Hawks' cards, mostly his rares and ultra rares. But yeah, it's just not good, right? Can't pull weapons, so we can't stun her. You do her stun thing. So yeah, she's going to go right into terrible. She is not sometimes good in draft.
Yeah,
this
you're still never going
to
pull
bad.
enough.
Honestly, no. We're going to put her in would rather go home, actually.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. It wouldn't be one of our videos if everything went perfect.
And we're back. So yeah, would rather go home. Not ever drafting or sealing with this character. Next up, Oako. What are we thinking with Oako?
Ochako's an interesting one, right? Because her only requirement to go crazy is high attack.
High attacks, yeah. We don't need charge. We just need them to be printed high.
Yeah, so she, in sealed, unplayable.
Agreed.
In draft, there's a chance that you can go off with her, because she does give really good numbers.
Yeah, for sure. If we really just hone in on high attacks, no matter what they are, we're just giving really good linear stats. So yeah, I agree. Terrible, but sometimes great in draft. If I pulled her alt-art, I would probably attempt to draft with her, for sure.
Yep.
So getting into the set characters, we have Best Genus. What are we feeling about Best Genus here?
Best Genus. In draft, and sealed, and constructed, and anything but maybe retro, I think Genus is garbage.
Yeah, I very much agree. I think this character is dog shit. I don't think this character even gets better with set 1 rotating. It definitely isn't good when you're going up against things like Endeavor and whatnot in your sealed event.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would rather go home. If I pulled the Best Genus and could only run him, I would just be scooping.
Yep.
Next up, guys, we've got Dobby 3. Already on Dobby 3. How are we feeling about this guy?
I think I said it at the beginning of the video.
Yeah.
Again, you need so much to make him functional.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And it's not even out of this set.
Yeah, you need Shigaraki 3's kit. We need some set 1 death cards. We need so much to make his burn effect be relevant whatsoever. And that's if we're burning our rival at all, right?
Yeah.
What if I just block them? I don't think I'd rather go home. I think you can probably, the burn effect is probably fine.
You still get +1 speed.
Yeah, you get +1 speed. Yeah, guaranteed +1 speed. We'll put him in terrible. But yeah, I would not be attempting to draft with this guy.
Yeah.
Going on the complete opposite front, though, we've got Endeavor. What are we thinking about Endeavor?
Endeavor, in a format where you have a 40-card deck.
Yes!
And you only cycle 5 cards out of it.
Absolutely.
I think he is absolutely nuts.
I agree. I think milling 4 cards for every attack in your 40-card deck deck and then once per gaming to kill our rival is insane, guys. So Endeavor is most definitely the coolest. I am drafting and sealing with this character 100% of the time when I pull him.
Yep.
Yeah, guy is crazy. What are we thinking about my boy, Gentle Criminal?
Let's hear what you have to say. This is your boy.
Yeah. You guys already know I'm pretty biased when it comes to Gentle Criminal in Constructed and every other format. I think he's pretty solid in those. And I honestly think he's halfway decent in this format, too. Hacking my own checks, like, again, nearly guaranteed, right? We don't need any particular keyword. We're not looking for anything like that. So in Sealed, I think the character's honestly kind of nuts. He gets to mess with a lot of cards that you would not get to mess with any other time. And in Draft, you can actually just draft this guy, right? He's got plenty of a kit. We've got a lot of Chaos cards in this set. So I don't think he's the coolest by any form, but I'm pretty high on him being high and good enough.
Yeah, that's where I would put him too. Like he's functional. He gives stats, he makes non-progressive, he does all the things you want to do in a character without requiring any keywords or any special effects.
Absolutely. In Sealed and Draft, we just need to find high damage moves because our character's giving the speed, right? So yeah, I think he's really solid. We'll put him in high good enough tier. Next up, we've got the card we revealed, Hawks. How are we feeling about the bird?
Hawks. I don't think you should draft or run this guy in Sealed. He requires all of his kit to function.
I agree.
He needs his foundations, he needs his feathers, he needs his rare attacks. He needs so much to be viable.
We need to find the moves that find the feathers.
Yeah. So running him in Draft would be a nightmare. I would put him honestly, I'd put him in Rather Go Home.
Yeah, fair enough. I am right there with you. I don't even think this character belongs in bottom of the terrible tier. I think he just needs too much. Next up, we've got Hood, Nomu, the new Nomu. What are we thinking?
Nomu. Hood gives a decent chunk of damage. But the problem is, in this format, right, we are ripping 4 diffs. We're ripping spam cards.
Yeah, for
These are the things going into our deck. So very, very often, his enhance is going to be +1, +3 damage. Let's say +2.5 damage on average.
Yeah.
And then he's on top of that, he's a 5-hander, and I wouldn't say I'd rather go home.
Yeah,
but he's definitely pretty bad. Maybe the
like
bottom of good enough.
Yeah, I agree there. We'll put him here for now, but I think he's gonna slowly start maneuvering down there. Next up, we've got the boy Deku. What are we thinking about Deku?
Deku gives dope stats.
Yeah,
all he requires is your opponent to have a committed foundation, and he starts going off.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just block one of my moves, and we're in, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you're lucky enough to rip a stun or something,
for sure.
especially
we're
in Sealed,
off of charge and punch.
Yeah.
There's plenty of that. He has 2 common cards himself.
Yep.
Very easy to pull. I think this character's honestly nuts. Very, very high stats. Again, a good hand size. We're a 6-hander with a decent health pool. So, I think I'm pretty high on this character. I think he's going to be like, what do we say, bottom of the coolest?
Yeah, bottom of the coolest. He's definitely not as good as Endeavor, but he's good enough to just rip everything apart. Endeavor just doesn't require a keyword.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of requiring keywords, we've got Bakugo. What are we thinking about this guy?
I'm really hot on Bakugo for Constructed.
Yeah, fair.
But again, it's not as bad as Toga, where Toga requires weapons, he requires Fury. There's a lot of Fury in the kit, but the biggest problem with him is how do you get the -1s without his cards?
I don't think you do.
Yeah. So while I would still play him, I think he's worse than Dobby.
Yeah, fair. We're gonna jam him into the terrible tier. I wouldn't go home because he does have common and uncommon cards that can help in that way, but not good enough, right?
Yep.
Next up, we've got your girl, Juro 2. What do we think?
Garbage in this format.
Yeah.
I love this character, and I will be drafting for her, funny enough. That's a lie. I'm going to be ripping all the shiny cards
You're going to be
from her.
hate drafting for her and then playing somebody else.
Yeah, playing somebody else.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
I think, again, she's in the terrible tier.
Yep, I agree. She's a 7-hander, so like sometimes that just gets you there, right?
Yeah.
But needs way too much. Again, not even of just her kit.
Yeah.
Of other cards that are not acquirable in this set.
And being 19 health, Endeavor's just going to trounce her.
Yeah, 100%. I think we're feeling the same way about this next one, guys. Dragon Lady Ryukyu. This character is very, very good in draft, right? This character is nuts in draft. We can just take all of the blank cards. Being able to legally play 8 of her foundation sounds insane.
Yeah.
If we're drafting on this coming Thursday, guys, if my pod allows me to have 5 of those foundations, I'm just destroying them. It's going to be a bloodbath. But on the other front and sealed, she's absolutely garbage.
Yeah.
There's no shot that you pull.
You rip 4 blank cards and then never see them.
Never see them. Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna put her in terrible, but sometimes good in draft. I'll put her like high terrible because she's a very good in draft.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we got Todoroki. What do we feel about this guy?
Todoroki's going to be a solid +1/+1 through your entire game.
Yeah, for sure.
And you get to seal 1 card.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. We get to like seal our rival's cool piece, right? You're the one cool thing that you built on turn 2. And then, just give rolling +1s. If you ever find us 2-diff, maybe we get to do slightly more than that.
I'd put him probably in the middle of good enough.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Like above Nomu, maybe below Gentle.
Yeah,
in strength,
him and
right
Gentle are right around the same.
Even.
So
yeah, I agree. Next up, another one of your favorite girls, the Frog, Asui 3. How are we feeling?
I absolutely love her, and I think in sealed and in draft, she's going to be a menace.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially in sealed, where she gets to play again with cards that are outside of her kit.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's going to absolutely ruin people. So I think she is absolutely one of the coolest.
I agree. Yep, I think she is one of the coolest. I feel her and Deku are like right next to each other here. I think she's honestly above Deku, right below Endeavor. Very, very good character, just really good thing. We're killing our progressive, again, a little bit more fairly than Asui 1 did it, but still very, very good in these limited formats. Next up, we have another character that I'm just going to go home with, right? We have Cammy.
Yeah. We ripped a box and a quarter and did not see enough of her cards to field a deck.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
not even close.
There's no shot that you're going to be running her in your draft, in your sealed.
Yep.
Just go home if the characters you pull are these 4 bottom characters.
Yeah, you're done. Your sealed event's over. I'm sorry. Cammy very bad. We're never gonna get her taunt thing off. Next up, we got the boy Ed Shot. We're feeling kind of the same-ish as Todoroki, right? Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit higher than Todoroki because we're a 7-hander. Yeah. We're always going to give a rolling +1/+1 that's guaranteed as long as we hold the foundation in our hands. And then again, sometimes more, right? Sometimes we will draft or sealed our way into the review cards. Yeah. So I'm pretty high on this character.
Yeah, he's probably not as good as Todoroki, I would say.
Yeah, yep, exactly. He's probably like right next to there.
Todoroki gets his for free, and you need to, if you end up blocking everything.
Yes, exactly. We do, as a 7-hander, we have to find a way to hold the card. Next up, we got Inasa, the refresh guy. How are we feeling about him?
Inasa, I like him. His kit is... Well, rather, not his kit, but his character card doesn't require a whole lot to go off, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And he gives speed. He refreshes his board. I think he's probably in good enough.
Yeah, I agree. We have God of Thunder printed on our character card.
Yeah.
That's gotta be good, right? So we'll put him, like, kind of down here. We're not giving like many rolling stats or anything like that. But again, we're pseudo messing with our progressive by just readying our entire board every attack.
Yep.
So yeah, pretty solid choice. Next up, what we have, I think, can mutually feel is, again, one of the worst choices that you could pick in draft and seal, the Kamui Woods.
Yeah. In constructed, he's going to be nuts, but outside of a very well-tuned deck, I don't think you play this character ever.
I agree. Yeah, I'm not comfortable with putting him in would rather go home. I guess he is a body, but like he's definitely bottom of the terrible tier.
Like I guess you do get potentially plus
you
2
can
health.
Say like heal, right? Yeah, exactly. But
so if your opponent just ends up going into Grey Wars, there's a chance you end up with 30 health.
Yeah, but he is highly dependent on so many cards.
Yeah,
you're like you want a million of his action. There's just a lot that would take that character to the top.
Yeah.
Next up, we have the other lurker, Mount Lady 2. How are we feeling about Mount Lady?
Mount Lady, you get to 3 counters fairly easily with her, I think.
For sure, I agree. Just by like playing moves, right?
Yeah. You get her moves are easy enough. Like they're fairly common to find. She doesn't require a whole lot of structure.
Every time we just do our normal review, we just get a counter.
Yeah. So I definitely think she's good enough.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd probably put her somewhere in the middle of there because, like...
Yeah, for sure. Maybe, like, right below her counterpart here.
Yeah.
There we go. Right below Ed Shaw, I think 2 out of the 3 of the lurkers are just sick, right?
Yeah.
They are just good enough, and most of their cards are like the common and uncommon variety, so you can pretty easily find them even in sealed.
Yeah.
Next up, found a homie on Discord that asked to have a tier list include the alt arts. We obviously haven't included all of those because those are some of these characters.
Yeah.
But we have included every other set character that is included in these. Again, in order, we'll start with All Might True Form. This character's dog shit, right?
Yeah. There's only been one time where he's been viable, and it's running that broken Detroit Smash.
Yeah. Detroit Smash is not a jet burn card,
sure
guys.
Not.
So yeah, would rather go home if somehow you pull 7 True Form All Might. Let me know, A, and B, I'm sorry. Next up, we have Danky, but this is Danky 2. How are we feeling about Danky 2?
Danky 2, again, is one of those characters that requires a lot of kit,
a lot of just
out
like
of
different
other
things.
sets, especially because he doesn't get to do powerful. He doesn't get to do EX.
Yep.
He needs things
he needs
to
charge.
Yeah,
to
he needs
like
charge.
Commit our rival. Yeah.
I would not play this character.
Yep, I would rather go home. He's not even a body. He does nothing. This is Kirishima 2, right? Kirishima 2. How are we feeling about this guy?
I think he's fine, actually.
Yeah. I honestly think he's good enough, right?
Yeah.
Even his errata, like, is honestly pretty solid. I would put him above Hood, honestly. Yeah. I think if you pull Kirishima 2 and, like, run hot enough, I think you're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
Next up, feeling kind of the same, we have Eraserhead 2. I think Eraserhead 2's sick. Block us, maybe I draw a card. Don't block me, maybe I draw cards. Like, yeah. I give speed to everything. Again, I think he's like right up there.
Yeah.
I think he's a really solid choice. Next up, I think we have kind of an interesting one. We have Mina 2.
So, Mina 2 is interesting because this set gave her a lot of love.
For sure, right? If we can find a way to draft those cards, I think Mina 2's sick.
But if you don't get to draft those cards,
Mina 2 does actually nothing. We are a blank character. Yeah, for sure. So we'll put her on the bottom of the terrible tier because you'd have to run hot in draft to pull this amount of cards. But if you do, hell yeah. Next up, we have Murio, the devastator of an entire format. What do we think about this guy? Slam Punch.
Slam Punch. I mean, the problem with him is he's great and constructed because he's got the good symbol. He runs the punch deck.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think the punch deck got a lot out of this set, though.
No, yeah, it sure did not. I looked up Punch and Slam before we started this. There's not enough, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think Murio is just straight bad. I'm actually never drafting as this character. The blanket attack is not good enough in a format that's just trying to shove attacks down your throat.
Yep.
Next up here, we have Momo Yayarozu 2. This character was bad in constructed, has been bad in constructed, and is still bad here, right?
Yeah. Again, there's a world where she exists in retro, but that's not where we're
that's
at.
not the world we live in. Would rather go home. These guys, just as a obvious note, these aren't in any particular order. This order doesn't matter. I'm just scooping my rounds. Next up, honestly, another sick one, Nejire, right?
Yeah.
Nejire is insane, I feel.
Yeah, she's really good in the current format.
Yeah.
She does require a bit of construction, but in sealed and in draft, everyone else is also running sealed and draft. So I would honestly put her at the bottom of the coolest.
Yeah, for sure. Which means that she's going to go in our secret tier of we aren't this lucky, but would be sick. There's absolutely no way Edgar and I are pulling that. I would destroy the tournament. How would you guys let me do that? Next up, we have another one of the big three, Amajiki. How do we feel about Amajiki?
Again, I think he's in the same spot as Nejire.
Yeah, he's a seven-hander. We don't need much of his kit, right? Like we can.
You can still dump your momentum. Unlike fucking Denki, you can dump the momentum you gain from him. So.
Exactly. Yep, absolutely. So once again, we aren't that lucky, guys. Next up, we have Edot. What Edot is this?
Does it matter?
It doesn't matter. No, you're actually right. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Would rather go home, guys. It actually doesn't matter what Edot this is. Hilarious. I love that. And last but not least, we have TORU 2. Once again, we're just not this lucky, right?
Yeah, no.
TORU 2's insane. You can't build in the coolest format ever. The one that you want to see your cards. I'm telling you, keep them in your fucking hand, maybe. I think TORU 2's sick. We get to once per turn dunk a move.
Yeah.
Crazy. Absolutely insane. And yeah, guys, that's our tier list. We have 3 people in Is the Coolest, which honestly is pretty sick. Again, these characters are sick. The way they've done this is very good. Guaranteed 1 character for every pack. Feels great. And guaranteed an additional 1 character for every pre-release kit.
So you're ripping 7 character cards minimum.
Yep, which feels just super solid.
If it's all from this tier.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry if we're in Would Rather Go Home. Maybe just jam Hawks and put as many of the 1-diff in there as possible. I don't know. Yeah, guys, set seems really, really fun to do a pre-release event for. Let us know in the comments what you're thinking of playing, and even in the future what you ended up playing and how well you did with it. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.